Hello and welcome to the History of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Today's episode, Joel Robinson. Joel Robinson is an inventor and former janitor at Gizmotic Institute. He was kidnapped by Dr. Clayton Forrester and Dr. Lawrence Earhart, and became the first test subject in the Mystery Science Theater 3000 experiment they instigated. Little is known about Joel's life before Gizmotic Institute. He played piano in the second grade, performing a piano recital captured in home movies shot by his Uncle Roy. He has, or had, relatives of uncertain relationship named Brian and Bridget, their children Brett and Brenda, also Mindy and her children Ray, Tony, and Theresa. At one point, he describes himself as being from the humanities, but it is unclear if this is an indication that he had studied the field. Eventually, Joel came to work at Gizmotic Institute as a janitor. At Gizmotic, he was able to indulge his penchant for inventions, an activity that would come in useful upon his shanghaiing onto the Satellite of Love. Gizmotic employees Dr. Clayton Forrester and Lawrence Earhart kidnapped Joel and shot him in a rocket into the Satellite of Love, a spacecraft in geosynchronous orbit around the Earth. As part of an experiment to determine which bad movies were capable of destroying the human mind. Joel was chosen simply because Forrester and Earhart despised him for some reason, even though he was by all accounts a competent employee. Left alone on board the ship, Joel scavenged parts from the control systems to build companions to help him cope with his predicament. His initial robots were Gypsy, Crow T Robot, and Beeper. He would later build Tom Servo, apparently from the same shell as Beeper, Cambot, and Magic Voice. The experiment required Joel, upon receiving Movie Sign, to enter the Mystery Science Theater, a built-in movie theater, and watch cheesy movies sent to their theater by the Mads. By choosing the worst they could find, the scientists hoped to find the perfect movie to break Joel's will and then use it to take over the world. As part of the normal rituals forested at Gizmotic Institute, Joel and sometimes the bots participated in an invention exchange with the Mads, an informal contest to see who could come up with the better invention. As their creator, Joel serves as father figure to Tom, Crow, and Gypsy, and he often scolds them when their antics got out of hand, or when they made some crude jokes during the film. In a display of parental concern, he opened an umbrella during Experiment 403, City Limits, to cover some nudity. Though bombarded with dozens of horrible films, he tended to take his captivity in stride, delivering most of his riffs in deadpan and holding no ill will against his captors, and even affectionately calling them the Mads. Joel spent 5.5 years on board the Satellite of Love, finally managing to escape after a torturous viewing of Mitchell, which was to be his final experiment. While Joel, Tom, and Crow were off on another part of the ship on a camping trip, Gypsy overheard the Mads plotting to fire their new temp worker, Mike Nelson, and thought that they meant to murder Joel instead. To save his life, she found a spare escape pod, the Deus Ex Machina, hidden in the Satellite of Love's cargo bay, and used it to launch Joel back to Earth. Furious, Dr. Forrester decided not to kill Mike, and instead conked him on the noggin and shot him up to the satellite as Joel's replacement. After the experiment, Joel crash-landed in the Australian outback and spent a few years traveling and doing freelance pyrotechnics for the band Man or Astroman. Later, he worked in a hot fish shop in Minnesota. At some point, Joel learned that Dr. Forrester had rigged most of the Satellite of Love's components to self-destruct after 10 years, and pulled together a spaceship to go back and repair the ship. Joel entered the tractor range of the Satellite of Love during a showing of Soul Taker, and reunited with the bots, meeting Mike for the first time. Though Mike and the bots asked if he could take them back to Earth with them, Joel declined, explaining that the years he spent on the Satellite of Loves were the best of his life, and telling Mike, "It made a man out of me, and maybe, just maybe, it'll make a man out of you too." Once the repairs were complete, Joel boarded his ship and headed back to Earth. Background information. Joel Robinson is played by MST3K creator and writer Joel Hogginson. Joel explained that he used the surname Robinson because it flows off the tongue better than his given name. It's also a reference to the Robinson family in the 1960s TV show Lost in Space. Joel appears in every episode from the pilot the Green Slime to 512, Mitchell, as well as 1001 Soul Taker for a total of 108 episodes. Joel Hodgkinson adopted his character's sleepy-eyed look and slow draw to keep continuity from the KTMA days, as Joel would be working in the off hours on show or stand-up, and the next day would be exhausted during taping. He has commented how fans meet him and are puzzled on how alert and average-speaking tone he is compared to his character. Thank you for watching the History of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Special thanks to the MST3K Wiki for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you have, thank you. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.